Let's see, am I live? What's going on? No, not yet. Yes, here I am, it's the Nazarite, bringing you Hebrew lore from days of yore. Just gonna mute this here. Okay. So, hi, Sneezer is here. Hello, Sneezer. Are you the one like I already have? 3 lives in a row. Yeah. So let's see, T-2 and counting. I just watched, said Sneezer. If a narcissist wrote a love song and I'm still laughing. Whoops, end quote after song. Oh, okay. I mean, obviously it's a video if you watched it, but what is it actually if a narcissist wrote a love song? It's good to laugh. These are crazy, difficult times. It's always good to laugh. 3 lives in a row, it's sort of like a juicy Christmas thing. No, I'm just finding myself wanting to broadcast again, and I have the time for the past few nights, and it's great. Yes, Hanukkah is 7 days and not now. Well, it's 8 days actually. The reason Hanukkah is 8 days, some people associate it with the fact that the oil, the small drum of oil that was found, the only pure kosher one that was found, lasted for 8 days. But the reason that it lasted for 8 days is because they rededicated the temple, the second temple, for 8 days in order to make up for the 7 days of Sukkot and the 8th day of assembly, Shmini Atzeret. That's why it's 8 days. If I'm not mistaken, that's what the book of Maccabees says. Seek Truth is here. Hello, shalom again to you. Hello in Oklahoma. Gotta do all the carrying, said Sneezer, for when you stop being sidetracked. Gotta do all the carrying for when you stop being sidetracked. I'm sorry, is that... I mean, it's a minute ago, but I'm not placing it right now. I'll just keep reading and we'll see if it clicks into place. It's a 11:15 p.m. It's been a long day, and I'm happy to do this. Hopefully I won't be too tired. Let's see. Regular black tea this evening. Okay. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Hey, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. How you doing, man? Sneezer says it takes the right comment to sidetrack you, extend the stream. Oh, okay. To sidetrack me. How you doing, Daniel? Where you at? Where you from? What are you doing? How is your Tuesday coming along? In Hebrew, we say pa'amayim kitov. It's twice good Tuesday. Because in the story of creation, on the second day there is no, and he saw that it was good, and it occurs twice on the third day. The third day, of course, is when the earth sinned, missed the mark, did not do precisely what it was supposed to do, and 3 days later we coming from that earth in the story of creation also missed the mark. Taking a break from the heat, said Seek Truth, been out cutting hay all day to stack up for winter feeding. Wow. I never lived that kind of life. I was always a city boy. Are there really millions in Israel protesting Netanyahu, said Sneezer? I don't know if it's millions, but it might come close to... I don't know the numbers, and I'm not part of the protests. When I stopped protesting, the last protest or political demonstration that I went to was before the expulsion from Gush Katif in 2005, before the unilateral exit from Gaza. And not because I wanted the army or the civilians to stay there and be massacred, but because things could not stay the same way, and I didn't think that it was a good thing at the time. But because of different things that happened then, and I won't go into it, a lot of things happened with that had to do with the expulsion from Gush Katif, which seriously affected me, but I won't get into it now. But one of the results of that time is that I stopped going to any kind of demonstration or political assemblies. Not that I was such an activist before, but I voted, for instance, and I haven't voted since. Have to keep the livestock well fed and fattened. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I won't say too much about that either, because I don't live that life. Hay is important, that big, eh? That big, eh? Children of Apocalypsis is here. Greeting, Nazir brother. Hello, hello to you. Good to see you again. So Nezer says, most protest young. I've protested recently. Trucker convoy, freedom fighter. Right, yes, I heard of that one. What was that, about a year and a half ago in Canada? Seek Truth says, it's a blessing lifestyle, that's for sure. It's a 3-hour drive to get to the nearest Walmart. I don't even see anybody outside the family, and unless I leave the land. Wow. And you get the benefits of fresh milk, said Sneezer. Indeed. So, 10 people here, 4 likes. Chime in, tell me what's up. Where are you at? Where am I catching you this Tuesday? Trucker Convoy's 3 years. Wow, time flies. Time flies. Children says, I read Food Not Bombs. Did a protest of them are feeder beef? What? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. What? Not did a protest in Israel a few years ago. I don't know what Food Not Bombs is. Presumably it's a political or activist group of some kind. Well, you have 2 milking cows, but all the rest of them are feeder beef. Ay. Difficult for me to contend with the agricultural farming. Difficult. Okay, I'm going to go to the chat from yesterday. Wait a minute, where was I? Here we were. So this the chat from yesterday. I think I got to the end of Sundays. I think I got to the end of the chat from last Tuesday. Maybe not, but I'm going to continue with what happened last night here that I didn't get into. Because I had to go. Okay. So we were talking about the different names, right? Yod He Vav He came up, and Shaddai came up, Elohim came up, El came up. I mentioned Elyon in the context of the order of Melchizedek, a question that was brought up by, I think, Children of Apocalypsis. XRP says Hashem is the highest God. Elohim are the lower gods, and Adonai is the lowest. I disagree, simply in the Hebrew tradition anyway, that's not the case. If by Hashem you mean Yod He Vav He, well again, so how do you spell it? What's the punctuation? These things matter. And that idea of highest, I'll have to, what do you mean when you say highest? Elohim are the lower gods, although that can also be Elilim, but those are more statues and material things that you say are divine, something like that. But Elohim, for instance, is also judges, rulers, magistrates. They're called Elohim. Yes, dear. Keep it very low. Keep it very low. And maybe not, we'll see. Now, as for Adonai being the lowest, if you're talking about Aleph, Daled, Nun, Yod, because I don't know what you mean when you say Hashem, but if you mean Aleph, Daled, Nun, Yod, as opposed to Yod, He, Vav, He, which is pronounced Adonai, then the Aleph, Daled, Nun, Yod corresponds to the final Sphira, the final emanation, the last emanation in the Tree of Life, Malchut, corresponds to the divine feminine presence in the world, what's called Shekhinah. So I'm curious, XRP, where you're getting this specific teaching or lore. James Bong said, the Hebrew Bible, Tanakh, so that's the Torah, the prophets, and the writings, contains about 70 names for God. Rabbinic literature adds around 90 or more additional names. A ton more than 90 if you go with the Kabbalistic texts. It's like endless more. I'm curious where you get the 90. Rabbinic literature adds around 90. Interesting. I wouldn't think it's 90. I would think it's significantly less. And that Kabbalistic texts, which are also rabbinic literature, give the bulk of the names. So Nizar said to XRP, that's what the modern day Jews want you to believe, but wrong. Well, no. So talking about the names and the hierarchy of names, that's not the traditional Jewish understanding of those names at all. Children of Apocalypse says, thanks. Have you ever researched the Rechavites? So yes, Bnei Rechav. I actually have a while back. Do you believe they may still exist today? Yes, I do. In Jeremiah 35, God said they would stand before him forever. So yeah, Yonadav ben Rechav. Well, just to go with it quickly, David, if I'm not mistaken, it's David, Yonadav ben Rechav, where was it? At any rate, I don't remember where it was, in the times of David, of Saul, at that time, or is it Solomon? I don't recall. But Bnei Rechav, Jeremiah, okay, he receives word from God. Oh, Jeremiah, get the sons of Rechav, of Yonadav ben Rechav, and bring them to one of the halls in the temple, and put goblets of wine before them, and ask them to drink it. So he does that. He brings them in, sits them down, fills goblets of wine in front of them, and asks them to drink. And they say, no, we will not drink wine, because our father told us, don't drink wine and don't settle in one place, or something to that effect. They were to be a sort of nomadic people, family, that did not drink wine. I don't know if it extends to other things, but definitely wine is mentioned. And so, in Jeremiah 35, God says that they would stand before him forever because, look, Bnei Rechav, their sire, right, their ancestor, told them to do this, and look how they hold to it. You bring them here to the temple, you sit them down in the hall, you pour wine, they won't do it, because their father's father, their sire, their senior, Rechav and Yonadav, they said, no, don't drink. And I am speaking to the children of Israel through my prophets, and they're not listening. And so the children of Israel are going to get a whooping, but the sons of Rechav will be before me, right? The Rechabites will stand before him forever. Stand before him forever. Kol hayamim, I think it says, all the days. No, I'm thinking of a different thing. Maybe it does say leolam. Okay. It's a wonderful story. And a lovely prophecy, even though it prophesizes something negative, but you can also learn a lot of positive things from it. XRP said, I can't explain it like this one bro explained it. I can send it the link. Okay, maybe he sent it later in the chat, I'm not sure. Let's see if there's anything happening here. Hey, James Bong is here. Seek Truth says he says it gives you a lot more insight living the agricultural lifestyle and study in the Torah. Sure, that's like the land, right, and the livestock, definitely. I can see how they go hand in hand. We were an agricultural people when we came into Canaan, and the Torah is definitely aimed towards that. With the everyday, right, with the tithing and with the different festivals corresponding to the seasons and the and the weather. So Nizar says the unchanging, ineffable is the highest. In Hebrew, that would have been El long, long ago. Well, here's the deal. El is just a name that we give to a certain divine revelation. So it's still only revelation. It's not the divine. It's simply what is being revealed. As you know, that's how I go about it. Then Yod He Vav He came to them as a revelation. Okay. I agree with the endless names. Yonadav, that's right. Children of Apocalypse, Yonadav ben Rechav. So Senizar says, I agree with the endless names. Sleepy Homer. Hey, Sleepy Homer. Homer of the Iliad, Homer of the power plant, a different kind of Homer altogether. Surely more than just the two of them exist. Incidentally, hey, shalom y'all, coming in late. No. You know, a chatter is never late, James Bong. He arrives precisely, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. Sneezer says he's doing the end of yesterday, RN. RN, oh, right now. Other acronyms. Children of Apocalypse says, and Jornada, root sidekick with Jesus who killed Jezebel. I don't know. I mean, I know the name Jesus and Jezebel. I don't know Jornada or Yornada. I don't know what that is. Spell check. Yonadav rode sidekick with Yehu, who killed Jezebel. Ah, okay. I did not remember that. Yes, Haklavim yochlu et Izevel be'emek Israel. The dogs will eat Izevel. Yes. Kivruha, kibat melachim, kivru et ha'arura, right? He says to him, bury this damned woman, because she is still the daughter of kings. The Itchy and Scratchy Show, right on. Yanni Rex Rodriguez. Hey, Yanni Rex, how you doing? Methuseludus? Do you mean Methuselus or Methuseludus? Oh, it's Messaludus. What is Messaludus? And hi, Yanni Rex. How's your Tuesday going? How you at? What you doing? Seek Truth says we call that Indian time out our way. That is, I'll get around to it when I do. Achi, ma yesh lecha, says Zorro. Ma yesh li? Tagid li ata, you tell me, what is it that I have? He asks, which Zorro are you? Are you Don El Juandro? Is that who you are? Seek Truth says the name Jesus didn't even come into existence until roughly 400 years ago. The English word does no justice to the true name. I've heard that Jesus is from Jesus, which comes from Zeus, and that it's a whole mixed up thing. I've heard that it's Yeshua. I've heard that it's Yeshu, also acting as an acronym for Yimach Shemo V'Zichro, may his name and memory be eradicated or erased. Well, again, that goes along with that Talmudic sort of more rabbinic view of Jesus. Jesus knows who I mean, says Sneezer to Seek Truth. Let's continue with the chat from yesterday. Okay. James Bong said, among these names, right, the names of God, there is a set of 7 names considered so sacred that once written, they cannot be erased according to Jewish law. That is correct. Hashemot she'einam nimchakim. Hashemot she'einam nimchakim. That is correct. You're not allowed to erase them. And if something is printed, unless it's heresy or something of another faith, perhaps, that just uses those names, if it's like a piece of Jewish writing, if you will, you need to bury it, what's called lignoz, gniza, to bury it, and not to just chuck it, if it has one of those names. Many people, that's why they write a hey or a dalet instead of the name, yod he vav hey. It's why they say kel instead of el, they add a kuf, a k sound. And it's why people put hyphens and parentheses and single quotes to differentiate between the letters, because if you write it down in such a fashion where the letters are separated, it's the coming together of the Hebrew letters that gives them strength, and the punctuation, and the melody, and the crowns, but the coming together to get together of the letters. And if you put a break between them, like a hyphen between Aleph and Lamed, then that's permissible to be thrown away. It's still not great, but you can. So yeah, Shiva Shemot She'einam Nimchakim, that is correct. Sneezer said Hebrew mixed it all together. Yes, agreed 100%. Once the Torah was completed, El was Yod He Vav Hey was Baal. Well, no, never Baal. Baal is a pagan thing which we never, I think, took into our traditions, the name of Baal. Oh, in one place, and I think that it's What prophet is it? At any rate, in one place it's still around. Baal means owner, and Baal means husband. Like Baal ve'isha means, or Baal ve'ra'aya means man and wife, like husband and wife. And there's a prophecy. Which prophet is it? One of the Treasa, one of the last 12. I don't remember, but it'll come to me perhaps. But it's at that time you will no longer call me Baali. You will call me Ishi. You won't call me Baali, husband, my husband. You will call me my man, Ishi, from Ish, Isha, man, woman. So Baal there stays. And there was, I don't remember who it was, when in the state of Israel at the time when they were making official forms for signature and whatnot, and filling in by civilians in a regular society. And one of the opinions was that it should be Ish Isha instead of Baal Isha. Instead of husband and wife, right? Be man and woman. Ish Isha, and not Baal Ve'isha. So Nizar said to James Bong, yes, that's taking 2 chapters from Exodus, one forward, one backward, then read them side by side more or less. No, those are not the 7 names, unless he's responding to something that James Bong had said previously that I now don't remember because I'm starting from the end, or towards the end. There's still so much more here. Okay, let's go back to this chat. See what's going on here. Okay. Seek Truth says, yeah, I know, but the name Joshua is who Jesus represents. And Joshua was the one who brought the people into the promised land. Well, Yehoshua's first original name was Hoshea, and it was Moses that changed it to Yehoshua, added the Yod. Rashi famously, I don't know if it's his commentary or him bringing down Midrash, it's probably a Midrash, he added the Yod for Yah. Yah should deliver you from the bad counsel of the spies. It worked. In fact, just yesterday, I think, or the day before, we were talking about how in certain cases, certain people will go to a rabbi, a Kabbalist, a scholar, and ask them whether to change their name, or rather, they would ask about their name. Or they would tell them to change their name, even without asking. Right? Take away a letter, add a letter. So the name Joshua and Jesus, Yeshua and Hoshea, are different, but they do share the root. So yeah, Yehoshua as well, even with the Yod. Brought them into the promised land. Interesting. I don't think I ever, maybe I did think of it, because it actually really, really, it really lends itself to it. I may have thought this in the past, but let's say it's anew to me, so that's good. So Nizar said to seek truth, which is why I differentiate. I mean the one who died to prove for all enemies. You differentiate, I mean the one who died to prove love for all enemies. Right, not the person who brought people into the promised land, but as the one who died, according to you. Okay, I get it. Baal was the storm god, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh's origin. Well, I kind of see it the other way around, though Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh is not a storm god per se. Seek Truth says the name Joshua, which is often written as Yehoshua, translates to Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh is salvation. God is deliverance. That's right. Yeshua. Teshua. Or previous, said Sneezer, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh defeated Baal, thus Baal becoming Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh being eternal. I'm curious, do you know if in the old Canaanite mythology, pantheon writings, texts, whatever, that this was a battle that was going on in their time? Or is it the children of Israel kind of contending with Baal that was already there, but not mentioned at all as far as the Canaanites are concerned? Because when you say that defeated Baal, Well, is there anything that alludes to that in any of the Hebrew scriptures that were found in the different scrolls or texts or papyruses or I don't know what? What was that? Was that a baby? No, it wasn't. It's oppressively hot in West Kentucky, James Bong says. Oh man, I hope you stay cool, my man. Stay cool. Carlo Pomerigio. Hi, Pomerigio. Carlo, how you doing, man? Yikes, I can't believe I caught a live show. Hello, Yohanan from the beautiful state of Louisiana, USA. And the fleur-de-lis, right? That's what it's called, a fleur-de-lis and a rainbow? Thank you, that's nice. Carlo, good to see you, man. Hello to you in Louisiana. Bong, James Bong says, cheers, I have sweet tea and need to stay hydrated. Yes, yes, yes. Mine is not sweet, I don't sweeten it, but it's how I drink it. Not always, it's been a few years. Can y'all hear the jazz? Children of Apocalypse says, when I was incarnated 20 years ago in the US, incarnated or incarcerated? I'm assuming, let's say, it probably is incarcerated. An Israeli man named Eli, who was in jail for cultivation of cannabis, taught me the Aleph Bet, or base. This established a life trajectory for me, very grateful. The Hebrew letters make up everything. I love to say that, I don't know this for a fact, obviously, but the core, right? That infinitesimal singularity within every atom, that string theory thing, you know, where the vibrations, it's all the Hebrew letters. That's how I see it. Those original things which the divine revelation spoke forward in the story of creation, and the things that we do now, which the Hebrew letters. So yeah, the Aleph Bet is very important. A life trajectory. Well, I can say that learning Hebrew established a trajectory for me too. Being raised in a Hebrew home has its advantages and disadvantages. James Bong said, it's southern because it's sweet. Easy now, Ariel Marshall says. Hey, Ariel, good to see you, man. Good to see you. By the time Torah was more or less completed, Baal was no more, said Sneezer. Think Anakin Skywalker. Ha! No! Seek Truth says, I was watching an interesting documentary last night on the copper mines of Solomon. Now, do you mean King Solomon's copper mines? Or do you mean copper mines of Solomon in a geographical location named Solomon? And share, please. Give me a few tidbits, regardless of whichever one it was. Ariel says, I think that people should consider the possibility that some archaeological institutes could have agendas. For example, people could be ascribing Jewish names to forged discoveries. Well, I guess you never know if the different antiquities authorities or societies are under the thumb of the local authorities and governments, and they want to push a certain narrative, you know, and you find a coin, yeah, sure, tell the public it's this and that. There's a lot of, there's always so much falsehood being pumped out by governments, and I don't know what's real and what isn't. But there's a lot of archaeological evidence in Israel, I'll tell you that right now. But ascribing Jewish names to forged discoveries. So archaeological institutes wouldn't ascribe it to a forgery. Do you mean they're forged discoveries from the beginning? Do you mean they are discoveries of forgeries, or how do you mean? Well, forged discoveries, it's pretty clear. Yes, so it could be, yeah, pretend that you found this and that and give it a name. I can see a lot of, it could be, right, to give a certain story credence or an agenda, right? To give an agenda kind of something to back it up with, a leg to stand on. So Neither says, for more info on the El Yod He Vav He, see Gnostic Informant. He's well scholared from the Greek history perspective. But I mean, to open my mind to it, sure, but I have my own Hebrew perspective and tradition, so I don't know if you're looking for me to agree with him when you say that he's well scholared on the Greek, Because, Athens and Jerusalem, they differ on a few things, huh? Sneezer says, though Gnostic informant thinks all things came from Greece, not realizing they stole it all. I don't know if they stole it all, but we're all standing on the shoulders of giants, you know what I'm saying? That's why we could see so far. Ariel says statues called El, etc., or simply claiming that this is the statue's name rather than a title. The statue's name rather than a title. Okay, I see what you mean now. Now, let's make that proposition valid and say yes. Archaeological institutes have agendas, and they're ascribing Jewish names to forged discoveries. So you're saying that statue is called El, right? So sometimes it's more nuanced, but to what end, as far as you're concerned, Ariel Marshall? What do you think is the? What do you think? Where is it going? If there's an agenda, what do you think it is? Or do you mean that it's simply done this way and it changes from place to place? Seek Truth says, my grandmother told me that we got the word alphabet from the Hebrew language. That is correct. Aleph bet. Alphabeta. Carlo continues and says, in addition to your channel, I watch Sahau TV. Now there's a good debater. Tal Klat, yeah, the traveling Klat, he's good too. Oriel and Israel, I don't know that one. Love all you wonderful people. Well, I'm no debater, and yeah, Sahau TV is great.